Today I'm reviewing the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation, and if you're interested in seeing how this foundation fares on an oily skin type, please continue watching. By the way, if you find these foundation reviews useful, please hit that like button. It tells me that you're interested in more of these product reviews. And while you're here, please also consider subscribing so you keep up with my future content. Hey guys, this is Sneha here at Beauty Lashes 19, and today I'm reviewing the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. Now I picked up quite a few shades because I wasn't able to match my skin tone. So initially I picked up 220 because in the original Fit Me formula I am 240, which matches me quite well. As you can see, it's slightly darker, but it still matches me better. So I went with 220 and it was so light. So that didn't work out. So then I went up to 310, which is sun beige, and this again was a little too light for me. It has more pink undertones, so then I went to find a golden undertone one, which is finally shade 332, which is golden caramel. So this is a little dark for me, so I mix these two, which is 310 and 332. So as with all my foundation reviews, I've already moisturized my face with the Ombre Lait Cream Concentrate, and I'm going to now prime my face with the Skindinavia Primer Spray. So I'm going to mix equal parts of 310 and 332, and hopefully that should match me. So this is what the two shades look like. 310 is this lightest one, and this is 332. This is what the mixed up shade looks like. I think it might match me quite okay. So again, one half will be done with the Beauty Blender sponge and the other half with my foundation brush. So I'm going to do this half with my Sephora foundation brush. Just going to dot the foundation. That shade is a good match for me. So this is what one layer of the foundation looks like. I think it gave me a good light to medium coverage. And as with all foundations, I'm just going to dab with my finger and see if this foundation is buildable on my acne scarring. So I think it built up quite nicely. It's going to build up on my chin as well. Sorry if I'm blocking. So as you can see, the foundation built up quite nicely to give me an almost full coverage. So I'm going to apply foundation on this half and blend it in with my Beauty Blender sponge. Squeezing out the excess water from the damp Beauty Blender sponge. So this is what the foundation looks like with the Beauty Blender sponge. Give me quite a light coverage. I would say the coverage was quite even between the Beauty Blender and the brush side with this particular foundation. Especially if you compare the forehead, where I didn't layer much with my finger, you can see that it's very similar coverage. And now I'm just going back in with my finger to build up on areas that I do need coverage. So that's what the foundation is looking like. So on this half, I have applied it with a brush, and then layered it up with my finger, and on this half, I've used the damp beauty blender sponge and layered it again with my finger. Both sides look comparable, I feel, with this particular foundation. So I'll just go ahead and quickly finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I've just finished the rest of my makeup. I haven't put anything yet on my eyes because I'm going to film another eye makeup look. So therefore my face is quite light right now, but I've done all of my base makeup and I'm ready to set it with the setting spray. As always, I'm going to use the Scandinavia Makeup Finishing Spray. So this is what the skin looks like with this foundation. Looks quite natural despite having quite a decent amount of coverage. So let's look at some of the claims of this foundation now. So the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation has quite a different packaging in different countries. In the US, as you can see here, it has a glass bottle packaging with a plastic black screw-on cap, just like this one. So I got mine when I was in the US. And as you can see in the UK, it has a packaging similar to the L'Oreal Infallible, where it's a plastic squeeze-out tube with a twist-off cap. Now, as far as the packaging, at least in the US, is concerned, I do not like a glass bottle. I mean, it's great that you can see the amount of foundation you use, but it's not practical for travel. Also, this does not come with a pump, which sucks, but if they work on the packaging, I guess it can be made more travel-friendly. I do like the packaging of the foundation in the UK because it's a plastic squeeze-out tube. You can travel with it easily without worrying about it breaking in the bag. Also, the pricing and the range of skin tones is quite different in the two countries. In the US, it retails for $7.99 and it contains 1 fluid ounce. And in the UK, the amount is the same, so 30 ml or 1 fluid ounce, and it costs £6.99. And more often than not, you can also get buy one, get a second 50% off in both the countries. So that's a great steal for this foundation. In the US, you get a whopping 32 shades in this foundation. That is amazing, especially for a drugstore foundation. In the UK, however, you only have 16 to 18 shades. I don't know, are there not enough colored people in the UK? But it just really sucks. Also, I'm not sure if the shade numbers have the same shade, if that makes sense, in the two countries. So if I look at the online picture, number 220, this is from the US that I picked up, this looks very different from the picture that I see online for 220 in the UK. So I'm not sure if the shades are different between the two countries despite having the same number. And unfortunately, the shades that I use, 310 and 322 or 332, the 332 shade is not even available in the UK. So hopefully they expand the range in the UK with this foundation. So this foundation is supposed to be a mattifying liquid formula, ideal for normal to oily skin types. And I can totally see that. It's such a beautiful finish, and we'll see if it can actually control the oil throughout the day. But right now, it's been about 30 minutes since I've applied it, and it just looks very beautiful on the skin. And I have very oily skin, so that's a tick mark for now. It's supposed to be a lightweight foundation that mattifies and also refines pores. I've never been too particular about pores or, minimizing them, so I don't know. I think my pores look kind of okay. They don't exaggerate them, which is, I guess, a good thing for a foundation with a medium coverage. This foundation leaves a natural, seamless finish, which I do agree with. And it also says that our exclusive matte foundation formula features micro powders to control shine and blur pores. We'll see how that does throughout the day. Pore minimizing foundation, so it may be a good foundation to try for those of you with enlarged pores, or if that's of a concern for you. It says it fits both the skin and the texture for a natural finish and poreless looking skin. I don't know if you would call this poreless. I do think I can see my pores. Also, this foundation is dermatologist tested, allergy tested, and non-comedogenic, meaning it's not going to cause acne. which is great for people with oily skin especially. Alright, let's do a flash test. So it's around 11 a.m. here, and I'll check back in a few hours. Alright guys, this is the first check-in. So it's about 2 p.m. so it's been about 3 hours since I applied the foundation. And yes, I do have a different eye and lip color just because I filmed another video, and I will have it linked in the description box below once it's live. This should be the next video coming up on Wednesday after this foundation review. And this is part of the look for my 3 looks 1 palette using the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. Alright, now let's get back to the foundation. Bringing you up close. I am so far very impressed with this foundation. Yes, it's only been 3 hours, but it hasn't settled into my smile lines. It hasn't made me overly oily. So yes, I am a little shiny in my T-zone, but it's not something unbearable at this point. I can walk around like this. My cheeks are quite matte at this stage. So yeah, I really like this foundation. It hasn't clung to any of my dry patches. It's not exaggerating any of the dryness around my nose and mouth. It just looks really good. But yeah, at this stage I have nothing bad to say about this foundation. Everything looks great. We'll check back in a couple of hours. Alright guys, so this is another 2.5 hours since the last check-in, so it's been about 5.5 hours. Let's take a closer look at this foundation. Now the oiliness in my T-zone has increased a bit, so it is shiny. I think my cheeks are just about getting a little shiny. But my T-zone is definitely oily and I need to blot. So I'm going to use the NYX green tea blotting papers today since I'm out of the other ones. So I just used one and it didn't completely get full. My eyelids are definitely oily, and yeah, my cheeks are not oily at all. And now that I've blotted, my skin is back to having that matte finish. Nothing has moved, everything looks great. I don't see it settling into my smile lines or exaggerating the pores or sticking to any dry patches on my face. So far the foundation has held up really well. Now I have a few shades of this foundation, so I did a quick swatch for you guys. So this first shade is the original Fit Me foundation, and that's the shade number 240. This one has a nice yellow golden undertone, as you can see. Now these 3 foundation shades are the Fit Me Matte and Poreless formula. The first one here, the lightest, is the shade 220, followed by 310, and then finally 332. As you can see, none of them are close to the 240 in the original formula. So that's the reason I mixed these 2 guys to make it work for my skin. I'm going to come back at the end of the day, maybe around the 8-hour mark, and give you my final thoughts on this foundation. Alright guys, so this is the little over 8-hour mark and my last check-in, and this is what the foundation looks like. I did go out for a 30-40 minute walk. It's not too hot outside, it's only about 19 degrees Celsius, so if you want to take that into consideration. But again, just my T-zone is a little shiny, nothing too crazy. So overall I'm very impressed with this foundation, and on a scale of 1 to 10 I think I would give it a 9.5, I guess. I'm taking off the 0.5 only because it wasn't able to control the oil throughout the day, and it claimed to do so, that it would keep the skin matte, but it did keep it matte for quite a long time. I would say this is better than the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation just because it did not cling to any of my dry patches. It did not go into my smile lines or anything, so that was great about this foundation. So overall, I think this is a great pick from the drugstore, and I would highly recommend this to anybody with oily skin type. Now with this foundation, I do think it would suit combination in even normal skin. I do not know how it would be on dry skin, though I haven't seen it cling to any of the dry patches, so I don't see why it shouldn't suit them, but I don't know. Maybe if you use a very hydrating primer underneath it, it may be okay, I think, even on drier skin types. So I think this would suit almost all skin types. So I hope this foundation review was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye! By the way, check out my lipstick. It has stayed put all day. I had my lunch, I had my tea, I had popcorn. I ate quite a bit, and I still have my lipstick on. This is the reason I love these Smashbox Always On liquid lipsticks. No, this is not sponsored. They're not paying me to say this. I just genuinely love the formula. Anyway, bye!
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me.